Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Live with the Pricing Lady. I'm Janine Liston, your hostess. This show is all about helping small business owners understand pricing better in their business so you can build sustainably profitable businesses for the long term. Today's episode is all about how you can make finding the right prices easier by starting with a single customer group. Now, I have to confess that this is something I see all the time. I call it everyone-itis. So a lot of times, especially with new business owners, they really want to get as much sales as they can, which is a good endeavor. However, their way of doing that is by trying to serve everybody. And when you try to serve everybody, quite often you end up serving nobody. So let's talk about how starting with one single target customer group can actually make setting your prices easier. So the first way that this helps you is that when you're looking at a specific target group as opposed to a bunch of them, the value or what these people, this group values actually becomes more clear because what they value is more uniform because they behave in a similar way. That's why we put them into a group. When you're looking at lots of different groups, then quite often what they value in a solution is very different. And then, of course, being able to pinpoint what they value becomes a little bit muddier, or a lot muddier in some cases. So first of all, this is going to help you be more specific and know what they value. And once you know what they value, then everything else starts to fall into place. So the second way in which this helps is once you know what they really value in a solution, you can create more tailored options. And tailor options give you other benefits further on down the road. So this is like the difference between a one-size-fits-all t-shirt and a regular t-shirt, right? If you can build it or construct a t-shirt that in the style and design that a specific group likes, as opposed to something that fits everyone, generally you're going to be in a position to get better prices. Which brings me to another reason that this really helps. You can actually price specifically for that group. Now, one of the questions that I get all the time from people is, how do I price to different target groups? And generally, the rule is, if you try to find one price that fits many different groups, you will end up with a price that is well below average. Well below average, which means you're going to have to do a lot of volume in order to keep up. Most small business owners, as we've spoken about before, won't be able to be a low price in the market for very long because they won't be able to keep their cost basis low enough to make that sustainable. So by being more specific in who you target, you can set a price for that group specifically. And if that's a group that's in the upper part of the range, then you can get better prices. If they're in the lower part of the range, you can set lower prices, which will allow you to get more volume there. However, the important point is that you can completely adjust that depending on who you're targeting. So more focus on who you're targeting means better prices that are meaningful to that group. Now, another way this helps you set and get and manage prices easier, let's expand it just from setting for a moment, is that it will help you communicate the value better. And when you can communicate the value better, you can get better prices, right? So how does this help? Well, it helps in one way because you're actually able to communicate the value using words that their customer uses. So they'll relate to your communications better. You'll be able to be more specific about how it can help them and what other people had and how other people have benefited from it. So again, it's going to help you be more on target when it comes to communicating the value, which means that they're going to be more inclined and willing to pay for what you're asking. Now, the last way that this helps is actually when you start with one small target group and you master that, then it's easier for you to build out to other target groups. Now, one of the things that I think that stops people from doing this is they're afraid that if they just focus on one, they'll never sell to anybody else. Well, here's the cool thing. When you get one right and you get enough happy customers and good sales here, word spreads, right? So automatically you're going to get people who are maybe outside of that group who are actually willing to give it a try, even though it might not yet be the perfect fit for them. And once you see that start happening, either before or once you see it, it's up to you how you do it, then you can actually start developing offers for that group and fine-tuning the right offers, the right value communication, and the right prices for the next group. But if you start at first with trying to hit both groups, it's going to be much harder for you to have the right value, the right offers, and the right prices in place. As I said before, one of the biggest risks, and what I see all the time, is that when people are too generous, let's say, or have too broad of an audience, then they end up being a generalist in the market. And generalists in the market command lower than average prices. And that's what we want to avoid from you. We want you to, as we say, capture value in all ends of the spectrum. So be sure to be very precise about who you're targeting. Now, one of the things that I work with my clients is we segment those customer groups, and we do something called the love versus value system. We use this system in order to prioritize who is the best group to target. And what's really funny is generally I will say that people have a good idea where they want to target first. However, when we use the system, quite often, it'll be a surprise who comes out on top. It's not just where you can make the most money or who you want to serve the most or where the most demand is. You want to look at all of these things in relationship to each other to figure out what's best for you. And even if you do prioritize them yourself and find out that the answer isn't what you thought it was, you can stick with where you want to focus, or you can change to what the system gave as a result. It's up to you. The idea here is that you assess these segments somehow to determine which one is the right one for you to start with. And then you get to work on building your understanding of the value, building out that value communication to match what you understand from those clients, setting up the right offers, and building the right prices for that specific target group. Today's episode was a very simple one, but it is really very important. I know the urge is there for you to try and serve everyone, and I cannot implore or encourage you enough to pick one to start with and go from there. Even if you're not a new business, if you're a business and you're still trying to get your feet under you or you're struggling a bit, focus on that one target customer group that will get you over that stuck point and into the next phase of your business. Now, of course, if you ever have questions about your business, you're always welcome to come on over to JanineListon.com/discovery call and book a discovery call with me. I have one other thing for you this week, because next week I'm starting the Customer Value Challenge. This is a 10-day challenge. This is really great where I help you. I take you step by step through doing customer interviews. Why do we do that? So that we know what they value. See, there's a method to my madness. What I want for you guys who join me in this challenge to achieve is to get some of those customer interviews under your belt. So we'll talk about who you're going to target, how you're going to reach out to them, how to pitch them, get you set up, get your script, your interview questions set up, do some mock interviews so you can do them. And then in the end, we're going to talk about what to do with all this great new information that you have. That's what I want to talk to you about. So if you want to join me for this challenge, you can go over to JanineListon.com/yes. I couldn't make it simpler, could I? I will put this in the comments as well so that you have the information. That's what I have for you today. I wish you all the best, ladies and gentlemen. And until next time, enjoy pricing.